Imagine this. You're 6 months pregnant and still responsible for raising 23 children. As shocking as it sounds, this was the reality faced by many royal women in history. For centuries, queens weren't just wives or rulers. Companions, they were treated as baby-making machines, trapped in an endless cycle of pregnancies, miscarriages, births, and deaths. Their worth was measured almost entirely by their ability to produce heirs. Married off in their teenage years, these women lived through a relentless routine: conceive, give birth, hand the baby over to wet nurses, covered just enough strength, and then return to the royal bedchamber to begin the process all over again. For them, freedom didn't come from power, but from menopause, the only escape from this brutal treadmill. In this story, we explore 8 remarkable queens who endured extraordinary numbers of pregnancies, leaving behind legacies shaped as much by their wombs as by their crowns. Take Mumtaz Mahal, born in 1593 to Persian nobles. At just 19, she married Shah Jahan, the future Mughal emperor. Though Shah Jahan had 2 other wives for political reasons, his heart belonged only to Mumtaz. She wasn't just his partner, she was his most trusted advisor, accompanying him, even on military campaigns. Together, they had 14 children, but only 7 lived to adulthood. Her final childbirth was her undoing. After 30 hours of agonizing labor, she delivered her 14th child but died from blood loss. Devastated, Shah Jahan immortalized his love and grief by building the Taj Mahal as her tomb, one of the world's greatest monuments. Then there was Queen Charlotte of Britain, born in 1744 and known as Britain's first queen with distant African ancestry. Married to King George III at just 17, she adored family life more than royal splendor. Over 21 years, she gave birth to 15 children, including future monarchs George IV and William IV, as well as the father of Queen Victoria. But constant pregnancies exhausted her. While carrying her 14th child, she confessed, "I don't think a prisoner could wish more ardently for liberty than I wish to be rid of this burden." Still, she loved her children deeply, though tragedy struck when 2 of her little boys died from smallpox. Perhaps scarred by her own suffering, she shielded her daughters from the same fate, delaying or preventing their marriages so they wouldn't endure endless pregnancies. In medieval England, Eleanor of Castile, married to Edward I, endured similar struggles. She married at just 13 and bore 16 children. Many died in infancy, and her only surviving son, Edward II, became king. Eleanor followed her husband on grueling military campaigns, giving birth in tents and remote outposts. Eventually worn down by years of childbirth, she died of illness at 48. Heartbroken, Edward ordered 12 stone crosses to mark her funeral procession, monuments that still stand as tributes to her memory. Another Queen, Karen of Armenia, gave birth to 16 children, including 3 sets of twins. Despite her devotion, tragedy marked her life as multiple sons who became kings were murdered. Utterly drained, she renounced court life and retired to a monastery, where she lived her final years in peace. Maria Theresa of Austria, one of Europe's most powerful rulers, was both empress and mother of 16 children. Fiercely protective of her throne, she used her children as pawns in political marriages. Her daughter, Marie Antoinette, famously became Queen of France. Constantly pregnant, Maria Theresa once declared she would have ridden into battle herself had she not been confined by childbirth. Despite her husband's infidelity, she wielded real power over her empire and wore black for the rest of her life after his death. Her daughter, Maria Carolina of Naples, inherited the same fate, producing children. Though she disliked her husband, she used her position to secure alliances. Copying her mother's ruthless dynastic strategies, 7 of her children survived, but stress and political turmoil took a toll, and she died at 62, never witnessing Napoleon's downfall. Some queens suffered even greater heartbreak. Anne of England endured 18 pregnancies, but lost every single child. Miscarriages, stillbirths, and infant deaths defined her life. Her longest surviving child, Prince William, died at 11. Modern doctors believe Anne had a condition that made it almost impossible to sustain pregnancies. A simple aspirin, had it been available, might have changed history. And finally, the record holder, Queen Durayon of Georgia. Married at just 12 to the much older King Heraclius II, she went on to deliver 23 children, 13 of whom survived. Fierce and politically ambitious, she tried to secure the throne for her sons over her stepsons, sparking conflict. After her husband's death, she was caught in a dynastic struggle that ended with Russia annexing Georgia. Once a powerful queen, she died in exile far from her homeland. These women were more than mothers. They were survivors of a brutal system that turned their wombs into battlegrounds. Their children were both their greatest loves and their most powerful political tools. Their stories are raw, tragic, and deeply human reminders of the crushing burden of royal duty and the resilience of women who carried entire dynasties within their bodies.